Hey guys, Reagan here, and another morning, another trailer apparently. Capcom keeps pumping these out. So this time I'll actually be pretty informed about what each individual ability does, because someone informed me that on the website, I saw in the first video people were like, on the website they say this. I'm like, I thought they were maybe talking about like Reddit or something, or like some interview I didn't see. But no, if you go onto the Monster Hunter website, there are actually real descriptions that are actually accurate for the moves. So, I don't know why those aren't displayed in here, or the descriptions don't even match up to what some of these Silkbind moves do. But, whatever, I guess. Anyways, let's just get started on this one. Starting with light bowgun and heavy bowgun we have today, but starting with light. Capcom, what do you have for me? Oh, you got... Oh man, I like that dude's hair. It's probably actually part of the set. Alright. Cool. Still have the mines. Oh! Silkbind Glide. That seems like a special type of close range shot you can do using the wire bug. That's what it seems like. I was joking about aerial bowgun coming back. Capcom, don't actually... Oh, interesting. He was able to fire the, mine with it, too. Okay. I was... Here's the thing. I was joking. I was like, aerial bowgun was so stupid. Everyone remember that? And Capcom's like, nah. That's what light bowgun's getting. So, as I said, I'm going to describe these weapons for beginners. So, talking about light bowgun and heavy bowgun, bowguns in particular. So, time for the quick overview of what does light bowgun do exactly. Light bowgun is a ranged weapon, much like the bow or heavy bowgun, but it is king in mobility and status effects. I don't know if it's actually going to beat the bow's mobility in this game, but at least compared to the heavy bowgun, this thing is fast. And I really see that represented by the new Silkbind attacks. You don't lose half your movement speed from having it out. You can dash around. You can reload quickly. It has all of this, plus status effects. Amazing on light bowguns. If you're the type of person that likes to basically exploit a monster's weaknesses, or maybe you just like to hunt in a group and like being super useful there, this is the weapon for you. But don't get me wrong, just like any weapon in the game, it can do a decent amount of damage with its elemental rapid-fire shots. I don't know if elemental rapid-fire will still be the meta here, but, you know, we'll see. Light bowgun also has some mines they can put down that when the monster either hits or you fire at it, the mine will explode and deal some nice amounts of damage. Especially if you do this while the monster's down, you can get a lot of damage off on down monsters. I would say the light bowgun is really for anyone who likes the idea of being a gunner, or maybe just wants to apply status effects from a range, but doesn't want to lose half their mobility because they're carrying around a Gundam sidearm, you know? Now let's talk about the Silkbind attack. So, it is what it is. It's what we got here. So the Silkbind Glide, which is this first one, the way the website describes it is pretty much the same way that you see it. You basically move forward and go in for a close range shot. But the important thing that the website says is that it is a powerful close range severing attack. Meaning you can use this to cut tails. At least that's what I'm hoping it's saying, or maybe the website's lying to me too. I don't know. I'm onto you, Capcom. You're trying to thwart my videos. Which is honestly pretty cool, because while we have things like slicing ammo that still exist, I think a dedicated special attack would be really nice, honestly. Especially an attack like this that does a ton of damage, just in case maybe you run out of slicing ammo. Having that option would be really nice. And also, this would allow you to lay your mines more easily, because I've had it where the monster gets downed and I am nowhere near it enough to put 1 or 2 mines down. With this, you'll actually be able to close the gap as soon as they go down, get your mines down, and hopefully get off a few shots. So according to the website, the other Silkbind attack, Fanning Vault, which looks to be aerial light bowgun or aerial any bowgun, it uses a wire bug to basically vault you forwards above the monster, at least monsters of this height. And then you can press the corresponding button to fire your gun, to reload, or to fire a Wyvern Blast directly below you, which will stick to the monster's hide. So, I like this. I like this a lot. The option to reload in midair sounds really cool. The option to fire down upon it in case everything else is gone, or the fact that you can fire a Wyvern Blast that will stick to the monster's hide. These are all awesome. I actually really like this Silkbind attack. I really like the Light Bowgun Silkbind attacks, from what I can see. They're very active. They're not a buff that you're throwing on. Even some of the things earlier that I thought were just buffs aren't quite. They actually have a bit more going on. But, you know, you can find those on the website also. At the end of the day, these Silkbind attacks really feel like they add things to the Light Bowgun and actually differentiating it from the Heavy Bowgun, because I'm gonna be entirely honest, Light Bowgun is a lot... I feel like it's less used than Heavy Bowgun. I don't have any, like, factual stats on that, but almost every single friend I've had that started playing World, or started playing Generations, every single one did not want to touch Light Bowgun. They're like, why would I go for the Light Bowgun when I could have the one that has the big machine gun and is bigger and better and does damage? As where I'm actually a fan of the Light Bowgun over the Heavy Bowgun, but I'll use both. Honestly, seeing the Light Bowgun's mobility advanced in such a way really makes me happy, because it really makes me feel like the weapon is going to have a special place again and feel truly different from Heavy Bowgun. But honestly, aside from these new things, it looks pretty much the same, honestly. I'm seeing the same shot types. I'm seeing the same movements. Oh, and also I just noticed that the Silkbind Glide, you can actually reload afterwards. It basically almost knocks you into a reloading stance. Alright, now we're on to Heavy Bowgun. Let's give this one a watch. I'm excited to see what they're going to add here, seeing how cool the Light Bowgun stuff was, you know. Does that man serve the Emperor? Look at that armor! Yo! Oh. Okay, machine gun ammo's still here. That's good. Silkbind Glide? Oh wow, they get a bit of the... They get a piece of the mobility pie, too.
Say goodbye.
What? Counter shot? Is this the freaking Valor-style Heavy Bowgun counter? It is. And you get to fire afterwards, and it seems like it's a special shot, too. And it's stylish backflip. I can't help but love that. So, for those of you wondering, why would I pick the Heavy Bowgun over the Light Bowgun? The Heavy Bowgun does gain some limited mobility in comparison to the Light Bowgun, obviously, but in return, it does some real raw damage. While it may not be the king of elemental damage or, you know, status ailments, it can actually still do status ailments, but not optimally. It will do a shit ton of raw damage. So if you like the idea of having a semi-ranged nuker, as I'm gonna call it, someone who just does a lot of raw damage, doesn't have to worry about which gun they bring to the fight because they all freaking work. Heavy Bowgun might be for you, especially if you like explosions and different types of heavy weaponry. Now let's analyze the Silkbind. So first off, we have the Silkbind Glide, which seems to be fairly similar to the Light Bowgun's, basically gap closer. The Silkbind Glide is going to allow you to basically push the stick in any direction, and this will push you in that direction, so you do not have to go towards the monster. You can go any direction. And you can either do one of two things, according to the website. You can either press a corresponding button to do a special close range attack, as we saw, or you can actually do a quick sheath for your weapon. So say the monster's like charging up a big attack, you Silkbind Glide to the right, and then you get a quick put away your weapon and you continue running. It's great for Heavy Bowgun, gives them a bit of mobility. Yeah, or you could just dash right up to them and blow them up. It's a pretty self-explanatory move, honestly. So next up we have the counter shot, which, from what I can understand, is much like the Valor Heavy Bowgun from Monster Hunter Double Cross. But you basically stretch out your wire bug in a defensive perimeter, which I think is so cool. I'll talk about that in a second. And then if something hits you, you get to do a special attack, as you can see, which causes that really cool looking backflip. That's basically all it says on the website. So it's a counter move. I don't know if you're still going to take the damage. I wouldn't imagine you do, because Monster Hunter doesn't seem to do that a lot. But I really like this use of the wire bug, and now that I've seen the wire bug on a few different weapons, I really like its inclusion into the lore, right? Because how are you using the wire bug? You either condense it to make a strong shield, or you extend it to make type of like a pulley system. Other people are wiring it around themselves to increase their strength, like the bow. Like, lore-wise, I'm really liking how the wire bug is turning out. Like, for the counter shot, they get this huge defensive perimeter from the wire bug wrapping around them, which is awesome. And like for the longsword has that shield they put up in front of them in this kind of web, like this weaved web. God, the wire bug's so cool. Overall, heavy bowgun looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. These two silk bind attacks are going to add a lot to the weapon and make it so that it's not just a very, you know, sit there, blast them up the whole time. You're gonna have some more options, a bit more mobility, and you're going to have a counter. So overall, what do I think about heavy bowguns, and should a new player use them? Yeah, I think they're fine. The heavy bowgun can be a little bit jarring for some people because of its speed. You can actually attach a shield onto the heavy bowgun to passively block attacks and make your life a little easier. But if I was to recommend starting with any of the ranged weapons, I'd say maybe light bowgun or even bows, probably the easiest to use in my opinion. But either way, just play whichever one you think looks the coolest to you, you know? So yeah, I didn't actually really have that much to say on these two weapons. Like, they function pretty similarly. I'm sure anyone with a keen eye could tell me maybe some tiny differences, but I think I pretty much got how these weapons are going to function in this game. One question I often get asked by new players is, why not just use a ranged weapon always? They do a good amount of damage, right? Why don't I just sit halfway across a field while my teammates go and pelt this monster? And the reason being is that all ranged weapons, both heavy bowgun, light bowgun, and bow, have something called critical distance. Critical distance is a mechanic where you can't be either too close to the monster or too far from the monster, depending on your shot type. It's a mechanic that's in place that makes it so that if you are out of a certain area of range, your shots will do less damage. Or maybe just not penetrate. I don't know. It might be different in this game. Either way, if you're expecting to play one of the three ranged weapons, do not expect to be halfway across a field being Sniper Man, you know? You're still gonna have to be close up in there. The monster's still going to target you, but you will have that ranged advantage on it regardless, as well there's some people that are right on top of it. Anyways, that's all I have to say about gunners, bows, heavy bowguns for right now. Okay, we have 8 weapons left, which means we have 4 more trailers, unless they're going to unveil a new weapon by surprise out of nowhere. Which, honestly, I think we kind of want at this point. I know the more weapons we have, the more weapons they have to design, and the more stressful making a Monster Hunter game gets. But the last weapon we got was Charge Blade, and I think that was in Monster Hunter 4. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate? Is that what it's called? Nah, there's so many ridiculous names. But yeah, that was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 games ago? Capcom, please. It's not necessary to enjoy the game, but I'd really enjoy, like, maybe 1 new weapon or 2 or something. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I'm honestly having a lot of fun being able to wake up every morning and talk about Monster Hunter, because I love these games very genuinely. And every time I get to kind of gush about these weapons and explain why I like them, it's always a treat. I've been excited to wake up every morning and do one of these trailers so far. Anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please leave a like if you want more of these, because I'm enjoying making them, and maybe subscribe if you want notifications on more stuff like this. Anyways, see you guys next time. Right now.